Hi y'all, and welcome back to KDQ's Astro News. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna soft launch that on you, okay? So we're just gonna move on. But seriously, I really am happy to be back. I really enjoyed doing these astrology forecast kind of videos during the moons. It's something that I already do in my own personal free time, so it's been really nice to hear that people have been really enjoying them and have found the sidereal kind of perspective interesting. It's very encouraging, and thank you all for your support. And yeah, I missed the last full moon, which is such a bummer because it was in Taurus actually, and in the star Rohini, which is like my favorite sign. So maybe I'll be able to say like a few things about Rohini in the video today. But yeah, just getting right into it. Today, actually, I wanted to talk about this Friday, we are going to be having a new moon. So again, new moons, new beginnings. It's a very low energy time. And this new moon is happening in Sagittarius. And like I said, I'm sidereal, and I really want to focus specifically on the individual stars. And the star that this is happening in is actually called Mula nakshatra. So Mula is the root. It's called the foundation star. Its symbol is even roots tied together. So, and it reminds me of how, actually I have a painting over here where I can see like roots in the ground, ironically. And yeah, so it's called the foundation star, and roots are the foundation to trees or plants. They go so far and deep into the ground that they create stability for the plant. So it just reminds me of how the roots to trees, especially here in upstate South Carolina, where it's very foresty, they go so far away from the visible trees that you see, and they literally are underneath our houses, under the roads, like cracking the asphalt, because the roots are so penetrative and so strong, and they remain even in the winter time. Even if you mow over the top or chop a tree down, the roots still remain. And these roots also are entwined with the roots of other trees. That's how these sort of knots and ties and binds come to be. This has, like, you can imagine, a very earthy, grounding sort of vibe to it, but not necessarily, because Mula, although the star is about roots and foundations and kind of the places where we're bound and tied, Sagittarius is a fire sign. So Sagittarius is a very restless, adventurous, and on the move sign. It's a fire sign, and it's also mutable. So mutable meaning fickle, movable, changeable, like go with the flow. Sagittarius is a very restless and adventurous sign that actually has a lot of trouble sticking around in one place. So there's kind of like a catch-22 going on here with Mula, where they find themselves tied and trapped, ensnared in a way, which is kind of funny because Sagittarius is also the hunter. These two things do combine together here in Mula. And Mula is a very polarizing sign. People either love or hate Mula. It is known as the most inauspicious sign. It can be extremely unlucky. The deity of the star is actually Nritti, the goddess of calamity and destruction, decay. You get the picture. Mula is pretty much who you want to be around if you've caught yourself in a pickle. And I think that where we're at right now, kind of in the story of the stars right now, is actually coming up in the next few years. In 2026 and 2027 in particular, we're going to have a lot of forward movement. A lot of the outer planets are going to be in good positions, and we're going to be experiencing a collective sense of relief. But before we can get there, we really have to go through the gatekeeper that is Mula nakshatra. There is a purpose to the severity of Mula. Everything about Mula is extremely severe. Like, it's very dark, it's very challenging, if you will. Actually, today my makeup, as you can see, is a little, maybe you can see, is a little bit darker than usual because I was inspired by Mula. Actually, I was gonna do a makeup look. Maybe I'll show a few like Mula people in this video, but yes, they're very much known for their smoky eyes, even the men, okay? And just imagine I have like icy, piercing, like blue-green eyes that make me look like a hunter, and that would make me look even more Mula. Yeah, so Mula is very much the hunter, just like Sagittarius. It's the butcher class, like it's a sharp type, a dreadful type. It's Rakshasa, which means it's demonic, which is of this earthly realm. And again, like, it sounds really scary, and it is really scary, and especially in this time of year, it's almost the winter equinox. So the winter equinox, I think, is on the 20th or 21st maybe. It's coming up this weekend, and the winter equinox is the darkest day of the year. I think I fixed the framing a little bit. Very much ironically, I was like almost headless in here, and I have in my notes here that I was supposed to talk about the fact that Mula is ruled by ketu. So it's Sagittarius, but it's the first portion of Sagittarius ruled by the headless demonic dragon ketu. But ketu can have positive sides just like Mula. So anyway, I wanted to talk also about how we've been going through this dark night of the soul. Like, we've all been going through this very dark time, just going through Scorpio season. And there is something really terrifying about Scorpio, because Scorpio is doing a lot of the excavation. And then you run into these roots, right? When you're digging, like I was saying, some of the planets are still there in Scorpio, and they're really close to each other on this gandanta knot. And I wanted to talk about gandanta again. I'm not sure if I talked about it in one of these videos. I know I talked about it on my YouTube channel in the Mercury video and the ketu video. These stages are separated by something called a gandanta knot. Once we get here to Scorpio and transition into Sagittarius, you can think of it as like the death of the physical body. And our physical body has accumulated karma, and the karma is stored in the root. So they say in Kundalini yoga that yes, our actions from past lives, because you know, in Hinduism they believe in past lives, these actions and this will that we've chosen, whether for good or for bad, get stored in the root chakra, Muladhara chakra, Mula as in root. They get stored in the root chakra, and they become active at certain time, especially at a time like this where we have so many planets here. We have both Mercury and Venus are in jyeshta, which are in Scorpio on the other side, the star right before Mula on the other side of the gandanta. And then we have Mars, and then going to be the sun and moon, because it's a new moon, which means the sun and moon are together in Mula. So we have this really intense pull on either side of a knot. So, and Mula is already roots tied together, and Scorpio, you know, likes to pull really hard, okay? So there's like a really strong juxtaposition here that is getting created. And I hope that it's not too complicated, but it is very interesting to me that Venus and Mercury are still in the feminine, cold, watery sign of Scorpio. So there's a side of us that is contemplating our self-worth, our love, our purpose, the things that bring us joy and pleasure. We kind of talked about that back in the barhana video that I did a couple of months ago. So that's still on our mind. You know, we're still thinking, how the hell are we going to get what we want? You know, I want a house, I want friends, and I'm still sitting here trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with me and why I'm not getting that. Mercury is the mind, and Venus is also a very cold and calculated planet as well. And so we have this sort of strategizing side that is also very critical and feels like we're not good enough, while we're also now moving into Sagittarius, which Sagittarius couldn't give a hot flip about any of that. They're very much on the go and very go with the flow. However, it's also a very, like I said about Mula, Mula is a very dreadful, sharp, and intense sign that pulls really hard in the other direction. And we have Mars here in Mula with the sun and moon. Mars, the physical body, really amplifying that headless centaur horse body, impulsive, just very thoughtless side of us, pulling against these plans for the future. So it depends on your chart and what's going on with you, but that is definitely going to be a huge theme, is just your own inner tug of war of what your body wants, what your instinct wants, what you just feel that you need, and then whatever convoluted bullshit that is stopping you from acting on it. However, this is where it gets really dangerous, and I feel like this is going to be my first tip, is that Mula being the root, getting to the root of the issue, it is so important to be truthful and honest, because one of the warnings of dealing with Mula Nakshatra is there's a risk of humiliation, of a loss of face, they call it, like, you know, like public shaming. And yeah, it's because Mula is a victim to karma, is a victim to God's will, if you want to see it that way. The ebbs and flows of like the greater scheme of things, not society, not even their own personal desires. They're just really at the mercy of karma, fate. You can't go up against that. Like, there's no strategy that we're gonna learn, even though we might be feeling that way with that Mercury and Scorpio. No strategy is gonna prepare us for whatever the heck is gonna be exposed during Mula. So the best thing that you can do, even if, you know, if you got a ton of secrets or whatever, just be honest with yourself. Like, write it down, burn it or something like that. Go to a confessional. But it is so important for you to not be caught off guard at a time like this, because we've spent quite a few months actually with a lot of energy towards reflection, all the, you know, journaling and just probably really shocking events, or a lot of time in isolation. All of that is so we could be prepared for this, because whatever it was is gonna get removed because that's just how Mula works. It will be removed if it's not right for you, if it's an illusion, if it's out of alignment with your highest good. It will just be taken from you. So Mula at the beginning of Sagittarius is in alignment with Sagittarius A, which is actually a black hole, the black hole that sits in the center of our universe. So the galactic center is Mula. So we all revolve around this. It's a vacuum. It's like, I was writing about it and I was saying that after we've been in the stagnant waters and after we've excavated and we're down all muddy in the dirt, in a way, Mula is sort of like flushing the toilet, as gross as that sounds, but it's a good thing. And I think this is why that awareness and being honest with yourself is so very important, because if you're aware that you're about to flush, right, you better be throwing the shit that you don't want into the toilet, okay? And don't let it just be something that caught you off guard. This vacuum in the center of the universe spirals us into it, right? And so it's tearing things apart in this like force of gravity. But there's also theories, and I was reading about this a couple of days ago, about how within the black hole is a little white hole that creates in some other realm that we can't see, basically. Coming back to this concept of the roots, right? They're the roots, the foundation, the things that we're stuck to, that we just kind of were born into, that karmically is generational curses, you know, that we all just deal with, whether it's mental health, physical health, or poverty, just different things you didn't choose, you just came here, and that's the roots. However, the shakti power to break apart, to destroy, is to destroy those roots that are not serving us anymore. And so that turns Mula around, you know, that turns Mula into this other side of it, where part of Mula is also associated with progeny, with their children, with the ancestors, because of their ketu connection. They, at one point in time, were ruled by deity as Rohini in Taurus, which is the creator, the person who creates children, you know, procreates, you know, I'm trying to say anything besides like, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here, okay, but it's like, you know, baby making is associated with this star, okay? This is important though, because if you're planning on creating anything, it doesn't have to be babies, it's just that, you know, like I said, Mula and the last star, Rohini, have a lot to do specifically with making genuine children. But anything in your life, if you don't have children or you already have children or whatever, it is very important to be honest and realistic about where you're at and be willing to make the changes for a better life for yourself and for your children and for even your ancestors. Because as we work on ourselves, we cleanse these generational issues, and people can learn from us. Every action that we take affects the greater whole. And Sagittarius is coming in strong. It's very hard to not think in metaphor and like big picture, but it's honestly super nice after being so nitpicky and granular through so much of Scorpio. So it is sometimes nice to recognize that we are not in control of this thing. We don't know what's best. And so we should just be more adaptable and more open to not having it all figured out. Yes, the desire actually even for Mula is to find the root of all progeny. So they want to find the thing that makes things grow. Oh yes, I wanted to say that we're going from excavation in Scorpio into liberation through Mula, because Mula, ruled by Ketu, leads us to salvation, the release of suffering. But it hurts. It kind of hurts like hell to actually get shot by that arrow. And actually one of the other symbols for Mula is the elephant goad, which is like this pointy object that they stab an elephant in the ear with, and it's painful. And that's the point. It is very painful to have things taken forcibly from you. But it's also the very thing that we need to not eternally suffer forever. Because if we don't release and if we don't let go, then we are choosing to just cling and hold to our suffering. So we will keep the same problem and it will just come back around. Another Mula moon will come back around and they'll try to take it from us again. Also, I wanted to mention too that going from Scorpio to Sagittarius is very much like a literal death. And Sagittarius with the spirit shows that there's a soul, there's a spirit behind this vessel, behind this body. Another thing about the centaur, I hope that I'm not rambling too much, but another thing about the centaur too was that they chose to be half man and half horse, that they're really just shapeshifters and they can choose whatever they want to be. When it comes to your will and when it comes to your spirit, your karma, the things that you decide to do, that is up to you. It can be whatever you want. You can't choose the body you're in. You can't choose your family. You can't choose, you know, a lot of things in this world, but you can choose what you do. You can choose your actions. You can choose your karma, what side you end up landing on. Okay, so I think that's all of my Mula lore. We got the root, we've got calamity, we've got dark night of the soul, oh, and the galactic center. With all of that out of the way, it's a very intense time, but I think this is finally going to be the final trial. So if this Friday ends up being really tough, you can just, you know, you can just have faith that very Sagittarius, that it's going to be for the greater good, that we really need to get rid of these old, outdated mindsets to be able to reap the fruits of our labors. Really, realistically, like in a more tangible way, research is a really great thing to do under Mula. It's a mixture of Sagittarius and Ketu, especially researching within like your family. I wrote here like any sort of generational karma, including like, for example, like a health issue. If you're, you know, struggling with, if you have diabetes, for example, and then perhaps your grandparent or your parent also has diabetes, that would be a really good, or you don't know, perhaps you have some other sort of, maybe a mental health issue and you haven't ever talked about that. This would be a really great time to sort of open up that dialogue with people in your family, people you know, and really get to the bottom of some like deep-seated, deep-rooted issues. Any sort of healing is extremely favorable for Mula because, especially in the Eastern way, healing has to do, you know, if you've ever heard people say like disease is not being at ease, that comes from this Eastern way of healing. I've actually been reading a book on Ayurvedic nutrition. I don't know why it took me so long. I've been doing yoga for over 10 years and now I have Vedic astrology. I don't know why I didn't think I should do Ayurvedic nutrition considering, you know, my degree is in nutrition. Healing is very, very Mula. Mula aligns us to the truest version of ourselves. And so because of that, when we're aligned with who we're supposed to be, that's when we find ease and that's when we're able to heal ourselves truly. And Mula actually has a lot to do with incurable diseases, genetic diseases, people who are born disabled, for example, or people who have, like I said, these generational, like long-term illnesses that run in families. And so, you know, these are times to think of the situations in your life, or perhaps it is like an issue like finances or your relationship issues. Maybe your parents are divorced and you're facing challenges like that now in your life. It's difficult topics, you guys, but these are the sort of things that just keep repeating on a cycle forever that we have to be honest with ourselves about it, or else it can't change and we'll stay stuck. And there's a beautiful life on the other side of that black hole that we have to get through. We have to face it. Think about the things that you want to eliminate. You know, bring out your inner hunter. Don't stand for this shit anymore. Like if there's something toxic in your life that's holding you back, bring out the bow, man. Okay, like aim at it and get rid of it. Like we don't need these things hurting us forever. And yeah, I think, you know, Mula season is always around Christmas. It's always at Christmas. Christmas is always during Mula, but it's also always the winter equinox. So there's just, in my mind, this juxtaposition between the light and the joy of Jupiter and Sagittarius, a very optimistic sign. Mula people are very optimistic. It's very refreshing, actually, for people who have been through struggles, also have a very positive and constructive, growth-oriented mindset. And we can take a little bit of that, and it reminds me, as like a visual, it reminds me of a bonfire. Like even though it's cold outside and you have the icy cold against your back, it's like the idea of being around a warm fire, tended to, surrounded by the people that you actually want to be around, not just people you have to be around, but the people you choose to be around, and gathering around your fire pit, even if no one's talking, just that feeling, you know, that feeling of surviving, of getting through, of making it through a dark time, because we can conjure these things. We can conjure the love, the light, the passion. Mula also, like I said, they have this juxtaposition between being on the move, being a wanderer, being untethered, and being bound, and being stuck, and being unable to move from one place. And both of these can create a lot of misery. So we have to find an interwoven balance between the two, of finding home anywhere, finding belonging anywhere, finding it within yourself if that's all you have right now, and having faith that you will be led to the next adventure that will have your whatever it is you're looking for. For now, we need to just huddle around the fire. That was everything that I wanted to say about Mula. It's a really tough time. Just take it in stride. Don't even plan anything, you guys. Just try to be as normal as possible, and just be aware that this is probably going to be, if there's a huge shakeup, you guys, this is probably going to be the last one for a little bit, at least in the more broad collective sense, which, oh my God, I'm so ready. I'm so ready for 2026. I feel like the past 5 or so years has just been astrologically hell, pretty much. And it's finally culminating. Exercise is good for this one too. Sagittarius, and especially Mula, is associated with bodybuilders and stuff. They're always very large and in charge people. So we can channel a little bit of that and tend to our physical body, and hopefully keep our mind off of pain and loss and destruction and transition, which can be very, very scary. Okay. That was pretty much it, but I just wanted to add this little note on here. This is just kind of a bonus random thing, but 3i Atlas, my friends. Okay, I didn't know anything about it, and then my friend, who I'm pretty sure she's Mula actually, told me about it, and I did a little bit more research on it. And actually, 3i Atlas has a lot to do with Mula. It came from the direction of Mula, the direction of Sagittarius A, the galactic center. And yeah, I thought that was so interesting. I heard that it came from the same place that we picked up the wow signal from SETI, you know, with the big dishes that they're like looking for alien life. They got that wow signal back in the 70s from the direction of Sagittarius A. And so now we have 3i Atlas flying out of freaking Sagittarius A. And you know, they stopped by Mars. I saw that too. And I was like, dude, I wonder if they like stopped by Mars because like they thought Mars was the one who sent the signal. I don't know, but Mars is in Mula right now. So it came from Mula, wow came from Mula, Mars is in Mula. And during Friday, during this new moon in Mula is when it's gonna see us. Like it's finally gonna come from around the backside of the sun, and we might be able to see it. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of the astrophotographers and NASA and people are ready with their telescopes to take pictures and stuff to see what it's like. It's interesting. I know it turned green. I know it's weird. And yeah, I think it's interesting if it is like aliens. How perfect would that be? Mula, Sagittarius, like foreign civilizations. Like, I don't know. I think it's really interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to shout that out, that 3i Atlas actually has a lot to do with this star. It's coming from the direction of Mula. So anyway, you guys, I feel like this was a rambly one, and yeah, I hope that everything is all right with you. You know, check on your children, check on your parents, and just take care of yourself. We can get through this. After the winter equinox, right after that is when the light finally conquers the darkness, and the days will get longer, and we will make it. We will make it through just a long year, many years. We have all, as an entire globe, been suffering. Okay, so thank you for listening, y'all. I hope that you take care. So love you. Bye. thing. So, gosh, this one's hard, you guys. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to edit so much. It's okay, calm down. I can edit until the cows come home tomorrow. I'll be able to do that all day tomorrow. Here, let me turn the fan on. Oh my God, I'm sweating. Anyway,